This is what the two-piece pipe looks like, stovepipe by Dura Black, Dura Vent. It's two pieces that slide together, telescoping chimney pipe. The end that goes in the stove is this end. It's smaller than the other end. You can see that this side and this side are the same diameter. Then we go to the other end. You can see this side is bigger than this side. This is the end that'll go in the roof jack. They give you this collar for the roof that goes on here also. I'm going to reuse my old one, so I don't really need it. Get the screws for the collar, and they send screws where you screw it together. Once you slide it to the right height, then you would screw it together here. They don't fit super tight. There's a gap usually. Doesn't seem to be a big deal. I thought it would leak more there, but it doesn't. So now, before you install it in your building, you need to burn this paint off. Otherwise, it smokes like crazy and it'll run you out of the house. It stinks really bad. Some people say that just a couple hours, but I found that it takes days. Every time you get the fire hot enough, it starts smoking and burning this finish off. So I burn it off outside with a torch before I put it in. Here we are getting ready to burn the chemical and the paint off of the outside of the pipe and this is what our old stovepipe looks like that we're going to replace. It's the same pipe, identical, a telescoping 6-inch pipe. This one is starting to burn out like they do every year. I'll show you where it is burning out here. Seems to always burn out at the top. Right up there, I'm starting to get some pinholes in it. There you can see them. It started really quick. This happened in the last 2-3 weeks maybe. I've been keeping an eye on it, trying to make it until the pipe showed up. Starting on the back side a little bit. And you can see where it's burned through and it was running down the pipe, the creosote. So that's another indicator. So it's always good to keep an eye on the pipe, especially up on top. You never look up and you don't notice it until it's too late. I know this is so tender. Oh, you can see I'm just pushing right through it. If you let it go too long, then when you try and pull it out, it gets stuck up in this groove and it's hard to get it, the little pieces out of there. So hopefully I can get this out of there without the whole thing falling apart. The first thing to do is take the screws apart out right here where it telescopes. After you install it, that's part of the process, putting the screws there to keep it all together. So we'll pull those out, slide this piece down into the other so we can get it out up here, and we'll pull it out of the stove down here. Okay, I've got the screws out. Let's see if I can pull the pipe out of there. See how bad it's stuck in there. want to come down very easy. Oops. Oh, that's not good. It's starting to tear. Let's see if the bottom will come up. There we go. So we got the bottom out of the stove. Now to the top. The top is doing just what I didn't want. It's breaking loose at the very top. Doesn't want to come out very easy. Maybe I can get a pry bar and pry that out a little bit. This side is just falling apart when I'm trying to pull it down, like I was afraid of. It's so rotten. The piece that's up in the seam here, we don't want it to break off. It would be nice if that pulls down. Otherwise, we got to dig it out of that crack. I was able to get this side to move a little where it's stronger. So that side is coming down. I had a screwdriver and I was prying here against a piece of plywood that I held up here. That allowed me to pry this down a little bit. But it's still pretty rotten and it was trying to break where I was prying it even. So I'm gonna wiggle and pull on the other side and see if I can get it down, whatever's left up in here. We'll have to dig out the worst scenario. We'll see how it goes. There, get that piece off. There's the bottom piece. Part of it out. So this whole side is out. That looks good. The other side that was falling apart is still going to be the problem. It's stuck up in there still. So it doesn't want to come out very easy. This piece is up in there, halfway around maybe. There you can see a little better. So we're gonna have to just pull it out and probably use some vice grips or something and try and pull those rotten pieces out. Looks like most of it might be coming. There might be one spot right here where it's stuck up in the groove. We'll have to clean that out before we can shove our new one in. That's gonna be a pain in the ass, but we'll see how it goes. Well, I finally got it out. Doesn't look very pretty. I got most of it. I think I got, I can see that all this came out good, so I'm happy with that. Right where they meet here, there might have been a piece stuck up in there that I got out. So I think I've got it all now. The way I finally got it was I took a screwdriver and I got in the crack here and just pried a little bit and twisted the screwdriver back and forth like this, wiggled it, worked it around until I was finally able to pull the pieces out. Now I've gone all the way around with my screwdriver and I know that it's all cleaned out. There's nothing stuck up in there that's going to stop the new pipe from going in there. So that looks pretty good. If you pry too much and you get a piece sticking out, you can tap it back and make it look like it'll be close again. So we'll get our new pipe and see if we can put it in. That should be easier. This is probably the worst part, getting this out. Although it is hard getting the new pipe in that crack sometimes. We'll see how it goes here. We have the new pipe in here ready to put in. I cleaned up my stove also a little bit where it goes down into the groove here. It looks nice and smooth. Nothing's going to stop it. It fits in there pretty tight, so I want to make it as good as I can. This other end that goes in there, I took a small handheld grinder and I went all the way around this edge and tapered it a little bit just to help, especially where this seam is. the seam sticks up, so it's not very friendly for going in right on the end. So I ground that down to help it go in. Should got a little more up here maybe, but that's probably all right, just so it gets started all the way around. Especially on the roof is going to be the hardest one to fit in there. I did the same on that end. I tapered the end of the pipe and the seam with a grinder. So let's stick her in there. So to get the top in, I'm going to have to tap on it and try and drive it up in there. It's too tight to just push it up in there. So I've got a piece of plywood and a hammer. And I'm going to put the plywood on the lip of the pipe and try and tap it up there without bending anything. Okay, we got it up in there finally. The problem was the pipe was out of round just a little bit. And there was one little piece in the front that was sticking out enough to won't go in the slot, so I pried it in up with a screwdriver and was able to wiggle it, and then it went right up in there. So that seam is right up flush against the top, so we know the pipe's all the way in. And the same on the bottom. This seam is down tight all the way, so we know that's in. And our next step is to drill these holes that are halfway down where the two pieces go together. Put the 3 screws in, and that's what will hold it together, keeps the top from sliding down, and then we'll be all finished. Not too bad of a job. Took probably an hour to put it up in here. A half hour burning the paint off. You probably have almost a half a day by the time you fight everything and get it all set up. Kind of a good job to be done with. Now I'm set till next year. See you later.